I don't know where my friend from Georgia has been the last 8 days, because we had a hearing on this topic.
Sitting right over there.
Republicans had every single, without a mask, I remember watching you. We had an opportunity to talk about the bill, to improve the bill, to make suggestions, to ask the experts, and they didn't do it. They talked about defunding the police, a sham issue. They brought Miss Underwood up here, their prize witness. And she didn't know at the time. I talked to her briefly. They didn't know that it was this Boogaloo group, the Hawaiian shirt crowd, that is the most significant crowd shown to have participated in trying to mess with the rioters and change the discourse because of their behavior to try to get some benefit for them and anarchy or white separatists or whatever it was. Some of them are white supremacists, Mr. Johnson. I read your piece from CNN. Some of them are. Some of them are anarchists. None of them are Black Lives Matter. And they are the most focused, most identified group to have interfered with these protests that exist. And yet we get Antifa up here. Antifa is not a group like the Ku Klux Klan. They don't go and put on their hoods and robes and do their thing around a cross. They aren't organized at all. There's been no proof that they've done anything in these riots. This is all about real estate. One of our members, who I think is a real estate appraiser when he's not a lawyer, one time said, the most expensive real estate in the District of Columbia is between Donald Trump's ears. Today, we're seeing a lesson in real estate. A whole bunch of people talking to the most expensive real estate in the District of Columbia. But if you read John Bolton's book, and I haven't had a chance to read it, but I've read the New York Times clips, there's not a lot in between those two ears. He thought Finland was part of Russia. He didn't know Britain had a nuclear bomb. Much of what he said was absolutely not true, according to Mr. Bolton. And that's the most expensive real estate in D.C. to a lot of the people here, and that's where they're talking about Antifa, that's where they're talking about defunding the police, that's why they're talking about abortion, they're talking about anything but the real issues, which is police practices that need to be reformed to make people respect the police and to make police respect all people, and to see to it that African Americans are not subjugated to police and to others because of the color of their skin, and a history of racism that's gone on since 1619, and it continues to pervade our debates, our politics, our social life, our economic life, and our whole culture. If anybody, as Mr. Richmond told you, doesn't get it, they simply don't get it. There is racial bias. Ms. Gupta got it. Senator Cornyn of Texas doesn't get it. There is racial bias. It's built into all of us, and it's hard to escape. It's even harder, apparently, for some people to admit it. You know, Mr. Collins said that the voices of I guess he was quoting Mr. Cicilline about the voices on the streets. Have you listened to the voices on the streets? You don't have to listen to the voices on the streets. Just listen to your conscience, if you have one, and vote for this bill and stop all of this malarkey about Antifa, about defunding the police, and about Mr. Underwood. Get back to reality. I yield back the balance of my time.